What was that? Astros. I would like you to explain yourselves, right? So, we're 15 games into the season, right? 15 games in, and we look awful. We look terrible. 7-8, but that really understates it, right? Hi, I'm Weston, by the way. I love talking about the Astros. And what are we doing? What are we doing right now? What are we doing? This team doesn't look like a team that has World Series ambitions, or at this moment, even postseason ambitions, right? We look awful. You got one hit off of the Mariners today. One hit. I know you got to do the 2 runs. You got one hit. The Mariners basically, and that one hit wouldn't have scored a run if the Mariners hadn't screwed up. 3 errors by the Mariners today. Those are the only reasons we have any runs. The error let Correa reach, and he would eventually, score on a wild pitch. The other one was reached on an error. And then he eventually got sac flied and moved over to home plate. That was it. That was it. That was it! You get 2 runs! You got 1 hit! 1 hit off of the Mariners! Off of Newsom! I believe it was... Or not Newsom. You got 1 hit! Off of Nick... Good lord, that's a hard name to pronounce. He had a +5 ERA going in... Or after today, I believe. I believe going into this game, he had like a 7 ERA. It was above 7, I believe. It was absurd. And you couldn't do anything to him. They looked awful. This is one of the worst games we've played this season. And that says something, because we played some stinkers already. Like, I don't know what to do. Right? Like, I don't see what to do right now. And that's the hard part. Like, we don't have all of our pitchers. Our bullpen doesn't have all of its pitchers. And our lineup doesn't have all of its hitters. And so as much as it hurts, I think right now, all we can do is just suck it up as fans. And that sucks, But, like, you look up and down, like, we're missing Altuve, we're missing Bregman, we're missing Jordan. Those are 3 of our best hitters. They were our 3 best hitters going into when they got injured. Well, 4 of the best. Yuli's just destroying worlds this season. Those were the 3 of the 4. 75% of your best hitters. Framber Valdez isn't there. He was our Cy Young last year, easily. And then in the bullpen, you're missing Paredes. You're missing Javier right now. You're missing... Well, you might not have Javier there. But, Valdez, Paredes... Javier currently isn't on the team. There are a few more that I can't think of. Like, there was a post on one of my comments. It was a great post. I think it was Bubba posted it. And it was, talking about how many guys the Astros are missing right now. And it's absurd. Like, and so as awful as these games have been, and granted we were struggling even with some of them in the lineup, but right now, until they get healthy again, we're just going to have to watch and deal with some awful, awful baseball. Because today was a bad, bad game for the Astros. And I'm not even going to go inning by inning. I'm just going to go off of scoring plays. Because, the Astros basically had nothing of note to talk about. Just a couple of base runners. I want to get our exact number real quick, to get total left on base for the Astros. Only 5. Yeah, we had 5 base runners. This was just atrocious for the Astros today. So scoring plays, right? The scoring. In the first, it was a RBI single by Evan White. And, it's 1-0. I wasn't too concerned. Long first inning, though, for Jayco DeRizzi. I think it was like 38 pitches in the first inning, which was kind of scary. But then in the second, Aledmus Diaz had a double. It was a ground rule double. That scored Correa. So that's cool. You get the run back. And then for a while, you were tied. And then in the 5th, the Astros playing small ball, the way you want to teach them. It was I believe it was a error, or maybe it was a walk that got McCormick on first. I think it was a walk. Stole second base, fly out, and then a sac fly by Miles Straw. Gets him home. That's cool. That's great. Small ball, 2-1. Then the bottom half of the fifth, where it really got bad, a triple by Mitch Haniger, which scored 2, and put him over at, obviously, triple, or on third. And the ball had a 95% catch probability, according to StatCast, which just sucks. I thought Straw had an awful read on it. I thought he had an awful get-off. It was just rough for Miles Straw. And you might say, well, Weston, the sun was in his eyes. And I would say, I understand that. It still had a 95% catch probability. And, it would have been better if he got off well, if he would have had a good read and got a good first step. He did not. Then we bring in Brooks Raley, and first batter, home run. Ty France to make it 5-2. And I don't want to say it was over at that point, but I kind of knew it was. And I want to say, Jake Odorizzi, I know it's going to look like 4 and some change with 4 earned runs. He pitched so much better than that today, and it just sucks. Because he pitched way better than 4 and a third innings with 4 runs given up. He pitched a way better game than it's going to indicate. And it just really is a bummer. Then in the 7th, a double by Mitch Haniger again, got another run off of Joe Smith, and a Ty France double off of Joe Smith again. And that was the final score. It was 7-2. The Astros had, again, I can't stress this enough, 1 singular hit. That's just absurd. This was a bad game. This was an awful game. Pitching lines, right? This is the fun part. Jake Odorizzi, 4 1/3, 3 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Again, this is so much better than 4 1/3, 4 runs. It was such a good game by Jake Odorizzi, and it's going to get lost in translation. Brooks Raley, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. One of them, the only hit he gave up was the home run. Stenek, 1 inning, 2 strikeouts. Perfect, nothing else. Joe Smith, 1 inning, 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, and a strikeout. And this was fun. MLB debut for the Astros, Peter Solomon. Young rookie for the Astros. The 24-year-old, the right-hander. He made his debut. He was a 2018 4th-round pick, I believe is what it said. Yes, 2017 4th-round pick, excuse me. He made his debut. He had 1 inning of work, only gave up a walk, so that was pretty cool for him. What are the final thoughts, The entire offense. I would make them walk home, if I'm being completely honest with you, because you guys put up 1 hit against the Mariners. And I understand the Mariners, they currently lead the division, which is strange. And I don't think they're as bad as some people might think. I think they're going to be bad, obviously. I think they're going to be sub 500 by the end of the year. But I don't think they're going to be this laughingstock like they have in the past few years. But 1 hit, really? That just sucks. That was, Tucker and Gurriel both had multi-strikeout games. That is not going to help much. The pitching thoughts, right? Jake Odorizzi. I thought he pitched a much better game than it indicates. I've said it 5 times already. 4 runs on 4 1/3 innings. That looks bad. He was good. He had his 1,000th career strikeout today. He had 7 in total. I thought he pitched a pretty darn good game. Brooks Raley gave up the home run, so that's a bit of a bummer. Ryan Stenek is continuing to be probably our best bullpen arm. Just another great game, or another great inning, excuse me. Full inning, no runners allowed, 2 strikeouts, fantastic. Joe Smith is still a dumpster fire. His ERA is now 14.54, which is a big oof. Big oof. Now, I want to take a moment to complain about MLB, right? The video's over, the recap's over, you can click off now if you want. So, last week, and this is just going to be a bit of a rant, last week, the game where Lance McCullers started, right? The game that Altuve, Bregman, Jordan, and everybody went out in. So, apparently, that was because Lance McCullers, well, not everyone else, but Lance McCullers apparently had just received the 2nd dose of the Johnson & Johnson shot that was then immediately recalled because it really messes people up. And he reportedly, after having it, felt awful. Some quotes say he could barely stand. Dusty Baker said his legs were wobbly and he was sick as a dog, were his exact words. Apparently, after the game, Lance McCullers had to get an IV I saw one that said multiple, or I think Dusty Baker said multiple. The actual report just said a singular IV, so I don't know, but at the very least, he had to get a full IV. So clearly, he was not in any condition to be pitching in Major League Baseball. And I'm actually not going to complain about Dusty Baker here, because he was in a bind. Like, he had no other option. I'm giving him the pass, right? Major League Baseball didn't postpone the game, and that is a joke. Like, Major League Baseball for the past few years has been trying to posture like they care about players and player safety and player. And they clearly don't. They clearly don't care. And, like, it's just egregious with things like this. Twins game yesterday got postponed, or 2 days ago. It got postponed because there was one positive case with the Twins. Game got postponed. I think the series got postponed, actually. The Astros had 5 players who had to be immediately go off the team. It looked like they might have to start their left fielder who's never played first base in his life at first for a hot second there. And their starting pitcher apparently could barely walk. And you don't postpone the game. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand this. And you saw this last year, you know. Marketable teams would have 1 or 2 total cases, you know, a big market team, and they'd postpone it for a week. The Marlins, you know, they had 18 of the 25 on the roster get it, and Major League Baseball just said, oh, that sounds like a you problem, and gave them 2 days, and then said, you got to play your games again? Like, are you kidding me? Major League Baseball is a mess, and it just is insane. And then, again, like, acting like they care about players and player safety and the COVID thing, like last year, you know, threatening to, you know, really hurt the players and the Players Association because they were partying and drinking and what have you, you know, not to code. I think it was the Braves that this happened to because they had a few cases. And it turned out they were just, you know, practicing together, and they threatened them because they tried to indicate that it was, you know, partying and, you know, being unsafe with the guidelines, and instead it was, oh no, they were just, you know, living life, you know, being with each other, practicing for baseball. And they didn't rescind it. They actually doubled down after that. You know, there's the whole let the kids play thing that's been a mess recently, you know. You guys remember that when they had a big advertisement in 2019, and then like 10 games in, Tim Anderson got excited on a home run, and then they suspended him and the pitcher who then beamed him in the face for the same amount of games. You guys remember that? And then they said, whoa, it wasn't the same amount of games because the pitcher got 10 and Anderson got 2. And you go, but I can count, you see. 1 start, 4 more games. 1 start, 4 more games. That's the same amount, buddy boy. And I just, at the end of the day, right, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I don't know where I'm going with it. And I'm pretty much going nowhere. But Major League Baseball is a mess, and the fact that apparently Lance McCullers, like it says, could barely stand is just an absolute joke on this league that they didn't suspend play for at least the day. And it really irritates me, because McCullers has been rolling. He rolled through his first 2 starts. 5 innings in each, 2 total runs, and then you hang him out to dry in that game because he could barely stand. And it's just, it's egregious. And it really angers me that this is happening. And I had to say that. Like, I thought about making a full video about it, and I realized it would only be like a 4-minute video, so I figured I would just tack it on here. Because I also wanted to draw out the runtime a little bit, because this was going to be like a 7-minute recap. But I wanted to get that out there. And as for the next series, we play the Rockies starting Tuesday for 2 games. Here's the thing. The Rockies are 4-12. And here's the big thing. It's going to be in Colorado, so the ball is going to be flying. Astros, you have to win the series. This is non-negotiable. This isn't, you got to split it, you have to win it. They are a pretty bad team right now. They're not doing anything. You got to go win this game. That case closed. This is it. If we can't win that game, we're in for a long, long stretch, because then we have the Angels for 4 games, the Mariners for 4 more games, which apparently they have our number, and then in Tampa for 3, which for some reason we cannot play in Tropicana Field. And then after that, 3 more against the Yankees. Oh, and then after that, 3 in Toronto, or 3 against Toronto, and 4 or 3 more against the Angels. So this is going to be a gauntlet of a schedule coming up. And the next two in Colorado are must-wins. They just are. That's it. We don't have a starter named yet because we're not sure if McCullers would be ready to go Tuesday. But if that comes out, you know, if it comes out, I'm not going to make a video. But I will recap that game, obviously. So that's it. This is sort of a rambly video where I complain a lot. So thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Astros.